So my guest today is Adam Lane. Adam has worked in education since 1995 and has the hat trick of working at every single level: high school for 13 years, middle school for 8, and 1 year at elementary. He's been a teacher, coach, athletic director, IB coordinator, assistant principal, and principal. I'm tired just reading that resume there. Adam's currently the principal at Haines City High School and Haines City International Baccalaureate with 2,900 students, 230 staff members, and 5 APs in Haines City, Florida. Adam also presents on a variety of PD topics. You can find out more about Adam's availability for mentoring and consulting at his website, leadinglane.com. Adam, thanks for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for carving out the time.
Hey, Mike, it's an honor. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to hear, we've been talking with some folks lately about turning around a toxic school culture, and this is something that you have some experience with and quite an impressive track record at your current school. I'd love to hear a little bit about just a quick bit about your background in education and how you got to Haines City High School.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm from Ohio, and I honestly had a great experience that I can remember back as far as first grade through 12th grade, just amazing teachers. So I knew all along what I wanted to become was I wanted to influence students the way I was influenced. So, I went to Baldwin-Wallace College, bachelor's degree in education. I was a health and PE major, athletic coach. Moved to Florida. I actually came to Florida on spring break after my senior year of college. I was just going to stay for about a month. Turned into about 25 years.
It's a long spring break.
I was going to stay a month, go back, get serious, get a job in Ohio, but ended up, finding a PE teaching job, a football coaching job right down here in Pinellas County, Florida. And taught there for about 3 years at the high school level. Took some time off, got a master's degree in educational leadership, came back to Florida, and I've taught at high school, middle, elementary. I was always curious about the different levels, and I could tell you about the pluses and minuses of all of them. And then I got into administration and loved it even more. Was assistant principal at Largo High School for 5 years. And the opportunity to be a principal at Haines City High School and Haines City International Baccalaureate came up, and I'm in my 7th year already. It's been a journey and I love it.
Yeah, that level of busyness, 7 years goes by fast, but that's enough time to have a huge impact on a school. I talked to so many principals that, might be at a school for 2 or 3 years. A 7-year tenure really gives you time to make an impact. So tell us a little bit about what the culture was like at Haines City when you arrived, and maybe what that first year was like.
Yeah, Haines City is a large school. We're at just a little over 3,000 students right now, and I have a staff at 237. So just to give you an idea of the size. And when I got there, amazing, dedicated, just awesome staff, students. If I had to say something, maybe the direction was a little off, the communication, the relationships with each other on how do we get the most out of what we have, given the situation we have, was off. So, I came in and just really focused on relationship building and listening and providing feedback and allowing the faculty to vote on opportunities that me as a leader could help them achieve. Because I think most people that come into the principal role that are inexperienced feel they need to come in there, make a difference, make changes, and no one really likes that. But for some reason, everyone thinks that, and I thought that too. So we came in and just really focused on relationship building, making good decisions. How do we improve our decisions? We focused on expectations. What do we expect? How do we expect our students to behave in different situations, in the hallway, in the cafeteria, when they use the restroom? What are the expectations of the teachers? So you had great people and great students at a great school, but it seemed to me it was just lacking that expectation, and how do we communicate within meeting those expectations?
I have heard from a lot of principals that reminiscing about their first year in a big transition, thinking they want to go in and kind of redo everything without taking that time to listen, can really cause just slow down the progress and process of that transition. So you mentioned a couple things there that sound really interesting. Surveys with staff, allowing them to vote on different things. I'd love to hear like maybe a concrete example of that. And then also you mentioned improving decision making. Would you have an example of how you went about that? And if you're talking about decision making with staff, with students, or maybe both?
Both. And I'll start with your first one on the staff vote or the surveys. And an example was, we are one of 19 high schools in the state of Florida that's a certified PBIS school, positive behavior interventions and supports. Now, if I rolled into Haines City my first year and I said, we are going to be a PBIS school, we're going to have hornet bucks, we're going to have expectations, we're going to get a school store, I might have had a small percentage on board with me. They would have been like, Principal Lane, you're crazy. Like, you've only been here a week. What are you doing? So I tried to sprinkle them with positivity. Morning announcements, pump up kids and teachers, recognizing birthdays, just coming up with little awards teachers could nominate kids for, call the parents, make it a big deal, have positive referrals instead of negatives. Like, hey, Mike, you've been to my class 14 times in a row. That's a record for you. I'm writing you a referral. So we sprinkled them with positivity and they liked it. It felt good. Like the heart was beating warm. The mind felt good. The smile was still there at the end of the day. And then a couple months later, I said, well, look, do you want to go try to be a PBIS school? And here's what it looks like. And I allowed the faculty to vote if they wanted to work towards becoming a positive behavior interventions and support school. And they did across the board. Everybody wanted to do it because it felt good. So you got to allow that opportunity for people to taste what you're trying to do, to allow them to decide. Now, something we're going through right now is we are on a block bell schedule because of COVID situations. A lot of districts, a lot of schools went to block to minimize the movement in the hallways and the seating charts. Well, the 5 years prior to COVID, we were on a straight 7. Then we've been in 2 years of block. Well, the faculty came to me and asked, can we take that to a vote again for next year? So absolutely. I know the benefits of block. I know the benefits of straight 7, but I don't want to make that decision. I want to lead the opportunity for the faculty to vote because they're the ones that are affected more than me as the principal, as them as the teachers. And then I'm also going to allow the students, not the current seniors, because they won't be there. They could care less what we're on, but our current 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, we will take that to a vote. So I think that's real important as a principal. Yeah, you got it all in your head and you know exactly what to do, but there's more than just you there, buddy. Why don't you consider what everyone out there is saying?
That's a really interesting idea in terms of scheduling. I've never heard of someone doing that with that big of a decision before, but I think that, you know, it can't help but create ownership for everybody involved. So with the PBIS example, how long were you there that you kind of tested the waters and like you said, gave them a little bit of a taste of that model before was it your second year? Was it your third year that you talked to them about actually voting on becoming an official PBIS school?
It was actually my first year, which I was hired in August of 2015, just a couple weeks before the school year started. And right before we went on winter break was when I had the vote, because that allowed us a couple months to experiment with the positivity pieces and spending more time on celebrating successes than dwelling over what's going wrong, which is such a long day. So after about 3 months, we voted in December, and then it was to start it when we got back in January. And it was just a 1 semester commitment just to see if we like it. If we don't like it, you know what? Over the summer, we'll get rid of it. If we do like it, we'll ramp it up and make it 5 times stronger the following year. And, you know, I'm always asked, well, why did you go to PBIS? Well, You asked me what was the school like when I got there. It was a great place, but the discipline referrals were extremely high. Out of 14 high schools, we were number 2 with the most out of school suspensions, in school suspensions, just suspensions and attendance problems across the board. And when you went in the classroom, it's like, where's all the kids? Well, they're suspended. They won't be back for like 10 more days. And then they're back for a day and they're gone 10 more. So that was why we kind of rolled into that system, is we wanted kids coming to school because that's where all the excitement was. If you were skipping, your friends were calling you saying you're missing a great time, and we wanted everyone on campus.
I like that you kind of presented the option of the PBIS program as only as an experiment almost, right? Like, let's try this for a semester. It's not a 5-year commitment. We're not signing our lives to this program. Let's just give it a chance. And obviously it sounds like, stating the stats you were talking about going into it, how long did it take before all of those metrics started to change?
Immediately, within 3 months. And we started collecting data right after we got back. And I can tell you, for 7 years straight, our out of school suspensions, in school suspensions have went down. And as our enrollment goes up, because when I took over, we were at 2,200 kids. Now we're over 3,000. And even though the enrollment's going up, the referral rate's still going down, which is awesome.
So your overall enrollment is going up, and not just your percentage, but your total number of referrals of suspensions are going down.
Correct.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And another cool direct correlation is we noticed when our referrals are at the highest, and I came in, we were at about a 72% grad rate. Well, as referrals went down, even if you don't focus on academics, just kids coming to school, being in seats, loving their teachers, loving the school day, we seen our grad rate grow from 72% up to 89% in the 7 years that the discipline went down. And a big factor is the teachers wanted to stay. So when you hire teachers into an environment and a culture where it's positive and you're always celebrating and you're teaching expectations, we found as discipline went down, teacher retention went up, and in the end, grad rate went up.
That's some impressive shifts there. I'd love to see the, those correlated line graphs kind of go in those inverted directions. I'm just curious at this point, things have turned around quite dramatically. And a lot of what I talk about are those metrics, those numbers, people looking at, this is going the wrong direction. This is going the right direction. Where you guys are at now, sounds like things have improved quite a bit. In year 7, what numbers are you looking at regularly?
Our main focus the first few years was obviously discipline, getting referrals down. Then it moved to getting teacher retention up. And at the same time, that worked to getting the grad rate up. So right now, I think our big thing is attendance. And when you're at a school in the middle of Florida and you have 3,000 kids, attendance is huge, and whereabouts unknown can sneak up on you at graduation rate time. And you look back over 4 years of the students that withdrew, went to another country, and you don't have a tracking system for them. So right now we're really focusing on the freshmen that come in. How are we keeping them attached to a sports team, to a club, to a smaller learning community? And if they leave, or if we don't see them for a few days, how's our contact list look? Because we need to start finding out, did they move back to Puerto Rico and enroll somewhere? Or did they drop out and they're just working? So we're really trying to focus on the whereabouts unknowns and the attendance. So 4 years from now, that freshman class, we've got accountability on them over the 4 years. And I think that was a piece that just wasn't a top priority 7 years ago.
Well, yeah, that on track, that 8 to 9 grade year, that transition is just monstrously huge and so important for high school graduation. Yeah, it can't be overstated there. You mentioned teacher retention. It sounds like staff morale in your time since being there has probably had a pretty dramatic shift as well. Talk to me a little bit about the green guitar sitting back behind you. And, we every educator has gone through just a pretty traumatic last couple of years with COVID. Managing a large school, especially these days with staff outages and shortages and sub scarcity and that sort of thing has just been a headache for everybody that I've talked to lately. And in that kind of context, I want to hear a little bit of the story behind the guitar that you got.
Yeah. Well, my faculty knows how much I appreciate them, how much I appreciate their time. And I always tell them, I don't want to waste your time. Like, I do not have meetings to figure out the smell of the color 9. I'll say that again. I do not have meetings to figure out the smell of the color 9. You know why? Because I've been in them as a teacher, and my principal calls me in and I'm like, what are we here doing? Figuring out the smell of the color 9? Like, I'm busy. I got things to do. So they know when I have meetings, I look at it like a concert. Like, from the time they walk in to the time they leave, there's music playing. I'm playing the guitar. I'm telling jokes. We got people rotating on the stage. Like, just like I want my kids to come to school, I want the staff to come to those meetings as if there's nowhere else in the world to be in a better place than this meeting right now. So at the end of last year, I'm totally shocked, but in front of the faculty at our end of the school meeting, they presented this green guitar to me right here. There we go. So it's Kelly green. It's our school color. The guitar strap has our Hornet patched into it, etched. They even gave me guitar picks with Adam Lane on the back with our Hornet on it. So, melted my heart. Tears coming out of the eyes. You know how they water up and you put your head back because you don't want them to drip down. So I tried to play it cool, but it was really hard. But they said, they appreciated my leadership, for listening to them, for caring for them, for empowering them, just for giving them a great place to work and guiding them through the tough COVID years. And they wanted me to be the rock star on our campus. So, I practiced every day over the summer. I got about maybe 8 songs under my belt. And then when we came back in August, I treated them to a big breakfast in our cafeteria. And I gave them the best rock show I could. Like, A for effort, D+ for quality, but it was entertaining.
Effort's what counts sometimes. Was there a staff favorite in regards to one of the songs that you pulled out?
Well, the first song I learned was Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison.
Oh, it's hard to beat.
It's a song I remember my grandparents playing. My parents like it. My daughter's just turned 8. She knows all the words to Brown Eyed Girl. So that was the first song I learned. And it's a good audience one when you get into the shalalas, and it takes everyone back to a moment that I think you can think about from your grandparents to your kids. So we're going with Brown Eyed Girl, #1 song.
I like it. Well, Adam, something that I've been asking principals now as we kind of wrap this up a little bit. You and I probably talked. You have a lot of colleagues. You probably have similar conversations that I do. A lot of folks right now are very stressed and overwhelmed at the administrative level. They're dealing with, those sub shortages. Staff morale is lower. Students are worn out. Community is exhausted. I'm wondering if given the fact that it sounds like your school might be a little bit of a haven of positivity amidst, a pretty troubling landscape, what kind of encouragement, what kind of advice could you give to your fellow colleagues across the country about how to weather the storm right now?
Yeah, in college, a big focus of mine was the appreciative leadership way. So you can walk into any school and find what's going wrong, and you can talk about it all day long. And it's such a long, just not fun place to be. So the appreciative way, walk in, what's going right? Like, if there's only one thing out of 99 things, let's focus on that one thing because we're doing right there. Then how do we take this energy and this great feeling that we're doing on this one thing to make one more thing great? And then before you know it, you've got 99 great things because you started with your energy and your focus and your conversation on the thing you're doing right. Where most schools and most consultants that I see, they come in and the first thing they want to point out is everything that's going wrong. Well, these scores are low and these scores are low. Let's talk about what's high and what's going right, and then we'll work back to fixing that. So I would say it's real easy to focus on the negative because that's natural, but take a step back, take a deep breath, find something positive in your school, in your students, in a staff member, and focus right there would be my top advice for someone.
Well, Principal Lane, thanks so much. Really appreciate you. Appreciate your time. I'm curious. Final question: what song are you going to rock next at the end of your celebration this year? What are you working on?
Okay, the big one I'm working on right now. One of my favorite bands of all time, Kiss. I just about have Rock and Roll All Night down, and I'm working on the lyrics a little bit to change it up to be more school fitting. So instead of rock and roll all night and party every day, I was thinking about reading and writing all night and studying every day. So we're going to do a little Kiss education crossing.
I like it. Well, we won't put you on the spot right now, but maybe we'll have a round 2 coming up in a couple months, and you can debut it for us.
We'll do it live right on the podcast.
Sounds good. I like it. Well, Adam, thanks so much. We really appreciate you. Look forward to talking again before too long, and we wish you the best of luck with the rest of your year.
Hey, thanks, Mike. I appreciate you. And thanks for all the work you do, bringing podcasts and blogs. And it's amazing.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate that.